Hello， 大家好啊！唔經唔覺咧，已經嚟到我成個進修之旅嘅第3個禮拜啦，亦都係 Phase 3上堂嘅日子啊！咁啊嚟到呢度都2個幾禮拜啦，其實都開始熟悉呢一度嘅環境啦。同呢度嘅職員都好熟悉啦。咁其實佢哋個個都好 nice 嘅。亦都會主動去介紹自己啊，同埋去問你咩名啊。咁然後佢哋都會係每朝早都會同你即係打招呼啊，同你吹水咁樣，其實都好好嘅。講翻呢度啦，其實呢度我都早前都講過，就係呢度係其實真係一個好舒服、好即係好運動對運動員嚟講好理想嘅一個訓練環境嚟嘅。咁佢就有一個廚房啦，咁就係有營養師去提供有營養嘅嘢食啦。跟住之後有一個好大嘅治療嘅地方啦，好多 physio 喺度同你做治療同埋跟進啦。然後一個休息嘅地方就係有冷熱水池啊，跟住同埋有籃球場可以打籃球啊等等嘅，咁即係當然仲有好大嘅戶外跑步去練衝刺跑啊、起跑啊同埋彈跳嘅地方啦，咁同埋一個非常之齊全嘅舉重嘅訓練地方咁樣嘅。咁啊講翻個課程啦，咁其實之前都講過㗎啦。Phase 1咧就係關於認識佢哋嘅訓練系統嘅，然後 Phase 2咧就係教你點樣教，咁最後咧就去到 Phase 3啦。Phase 3咧就係仲有一個多啲 planning 上嘅東西啦，就係話你點樣去安排一個4至6個禮拜嘅一個訓練嘅program 去俾運動員去作出提升呢？咁然後再點樣去配合一啲檢測嘅方法去揾出 OK 個 athlete 而家係處於一個乜嘢嘅狀態，佢嘅身體質素係什麼樣，然後點樣去根據呢啲得出嚟嘅數據，然後再去安排訓練呢？咁呢啲都係 Phase 3嘅教學嘅嘢嚟嘅，咁係一個人從更宏觀嘅層面去睇運動員訓練啦。咁啊呢個亦都係我覺得係對於好多教練嚟講都好需要做嘅嘢，就係因為好多人以為 performance coach 做嘅嘢就係喺 gym room 教佢做 gym， 教佢舉得好啲、舉得重啲咁就得啦。咁但係其實如果要長遠發展呢，對運動員嚟講長遠發展呢，其實係要一個比較長遠，可能係8至12個星期嘅 planning， 咁樣先會得到一個理想嘅結果嘅。咁啊 Phase 3就正正係講呢樣嘢啦。好啦，咁樣就繼續。咁而家今日只係 Day 2啫，咁就好期待剩低嗰幾日呢。咁啊喺 exos 可以學到啲咩啦？好啦，咁啱啱我哋就睇完我喺 exos 第3個禮拜，亦都即係 Phase 3嘅精華片段啦噃。咁我喺 exos 除咗訪問咗 Coach G 之外呢，其實亦都訪問咗其他幾位教練嘅。咁而家就一齊睇下我同另一位教練 Coach Jamie 嘅訪問片段啦。Jamie is a very experienced coach, so what is the biggest lesson learned throughout your career?
Biggest lesson I learned is you're going to make a lot of mistakes early on in terms of strength training, in terms of training. Embrace that. I've learned that you have to embrace those mistakes and you learn from them as you go along. Another thing is in the very beginning, we read the books and we have to learn how to implement what we read and what we learn, but it's not always exactly the same of what we read, right? So the more exposure you have to athletes, the more you'll start to figure out that not everything is concrete, cut in stone, right? Every athlete brings a different quality to the table or something that they need to work on. Us as coaches, I've learned that you have to be adaptable to the athlete and the team, and that's the biggest thing I think I've taken away.
Yeah, well, great advice to everyone. Okay, so comparing now, like you now at this moment with the you previous you in first year in this industry, so what do you think are the biggest difference?
My coaching style has changed quite a bit. Where before I was, how do I say? I thought I knew a lot when I was younger. The more I learned, the more I figured out I didn't know much at all.
Yeah.
And I'm still learning.
Yeah.
I think the biggest mistake that can happen over the years is that you always stay with the same philosophy. You have to have a methodology that works and that you stand behind. But that methodology can spread into different directions. You can learn to grow as a coach there. So my younger self was very tunnel vision in terms of what they believe was right, and it was the only way. As I got older, I grew to understand there's a lot of ways to do things.
Yeah, I believe everyone has that moment. Like the first year I learned one method and I think, okay, that method is the only correct method. and I use it all the time, which I supposed to be because that's how I gain experience. But then like throughout the years, I keep learning in exos, learning in with Mike Boyle, and then different methodologies. Okay, so different routes, but all going to the same direction, to the same destination. So that's actually a very important lessons for everyone.
Yes.
All right, cool. So can you list 3 most important skills or personalities that a good coach should have?
So I think it always goes back to like the art of coaching. I think listening is something that we need to do more of. I learned that early on. Ask the questions to the athlete or the team that you're working with. Actually listen to what they have to say. A lot of times we try to troubleshoot and we try to look for solutions. If we listen to the athlete, they'll give us a lot of answers.
Yeah.
A lot of answers that lead us to the direction we need to go. If we don't take the time to listen and we try to come with a solution first, we may find down the road that we've wasted possibly 2-4 weeks doing something that probably wasn't necessary, right? So listening to the athletes, one thing I think that all coaches should try to do. To be really successful, art coaching is, even if we went to school for this, continue to study your anatomy. I think studying your anatomy is something I wasn't great at it in college, right? So I was a good coach, but I wasn't great in terms of the breakdown of why something was happening.
Okay.
Great coaches talk to others in the profession, right? But not just other strength coaches. Physios, talking to physios like physical therapists, athletic trainers. Start understanding why they do what they do, because you may get an injured athlete. Or you may get someone who's prepared, but if you have that conversation about how did this person get injured to begin with, you can possibly prevent, and what we hope to prevent from that happening again.
That's good.
And then I guess one more would be open to just training all different populations. I think that's a big one. I've learned, as I say before, I worked with football, I worked with hockey for some period of time. I ended up later on working with fencing for a little bit. And I learned a lot from working with fencers in just a different sport, and some swimmers that actually made a lot more sense to going back when I trained my hockey players and everything like that. Right? So just don't pinhole yourself to just saying, hey, I am the soccer guy. I'm only going to be the soccer guy, right? Like, experience what's going on there, because that may bring elements to helping you be a better soccer guy. Got
you. All right, so the 3 most important skills that Coach Jamie brought up is for listening to your athletes, listening to what they say instead of going straight to the answers. Second is be great at anatomy, because that's how you speak with different professions. Speak with physiotherapists, athlete trainers, understand how why things happens, and understand the injury so that you can take better care of your athletes. And the third one is to train different spots, like different populations, general populations, and athletes from different backgrounds. They all give you something that you might not have considered before. All right, okay, so the last one, but probably you have covered it already, is what is the tips that you want to give to new coaches in this industry, or who want to enter this industry?
Be open to making mistakes. Read. Read things you don't like. Read things you do like. Say something I learned early on, and I was taught, when you're young, say yes to every opportunity. And I think that's the biggest thing. Don't say no to it right now. When you get later in life, when you become more experienced, you can then say, no, that's not what I consider. But I took advantage for every opportunity when I was younger. I said, yes, I want to do that. Yes, please give me an opportunity to do that. Because what I actually learned is I build relationships doing that. When I said yes to volunteer for something, I built a relationship where I still talk to the same people I talked to when I was 20 years old. And I still talk to them 20 years later. And not just as a business side, but as a relationship to learn. Right? And build and just grow that way. I think that's the biggest one.
Cool. All right, so the tips that Coach Jamie is giving out to everyone is, so first, keep read a lot of stuff, which that actually impressed me, because both like Coach Jamie, Coach Jay, that which we'll interview later, and Coach G, that is also the one who taught the class, they all have a very broad knowledge that whenever whatever questions you bring up, they can give you the answer or give you the direction to look into, which is amazing because you don't only good at one thing. You can't only good at lifting weights. Like strength coach or being a performance coach is you have to good at a lot of stuff. It's basically a part of health and well-being, which is how human bodies works, which is very deep topics. And also the second one is always open to opportunities. Don't say no too fast. Say yes, and then build relations, and then that actually helps. Like even after 20 years in these industries.
Yes.
Right. Okay, cool. Thank you very much, Jamie. Yeah.
Thank you. It was a pleasure having you around.
Yep.
It was great.
Thank you very much.
All right.